Tonight, presidential threat. Donald Trump declares rioters domestic terrorists, vowing to call in the military if the violence tearing the United States apart doesn't stop.
I will deploy the United States military and quickly solve the problem for them.
George Floyd's death sparked the rioting. Now his brothers made an emotional plea for calm. Tonight we'll cross to the worst-hit cities. A coronavirus scare for at least 20 adults and children after a kindergarten teacher tests positive. The Eastern Suburbs Centre forced to shut. How venom from a deadly creature of the deep could prove life-changing for diabetics.
Don't think, Mick! Don't hope, do!
And the Hawks' spiritual leader, John Kennedy, honoured as a legend in the Australian Football Hall of Fame.
This is 10 News First Melbourne with Jennifer Keyte.
Good evening. Donald Trump has issued the threat of military action against his own citizens. And as we go to air tonight, there are National Guard troops on the streets of the capital, Washington, and other cities across the United States. It follows days of race riots, looting and widespread violence. Eamon Ashton Atkinson was reporting live from the protests. When President Trump launched his crackdown, he begins our coverage.
The mighty US Capitol is in chaos, with frustration, fear and fury. And it's all happening so close to the White House, President Trump could hear the screams and smell the tear gas.
My fellow Americans, my first and highest duty as president is to defend our great country and the American people.
He finally emerged from his bunker, not to calm the masses, but to crush them.
Our nation has been gripped by professional anarchists, violent mobs, arsonists, looters, criminals, rioters, Antifa, and others. These are acts of domestic terror. The destruction of innocent life and the spilling of innocent blood is an offense to humanity and a crime against God.
For many here, it felt like a declaration of war on his own citizens, made real when he ordered the military onto the streets.
I am mobilizing all available federal resources, civilian and military, to stop the rioting and looting, to end the destruction and arson, and to protect the rights of law-abiding Americans, including your Second Amendment rights.
That, as terrifying as it might sound to many Australians, is the right to bear arms.
There is not enough words that he can spit out of his stupid mouth that will make this okay.
And do you think that's going to calm things?
Nah, he's just going to get everybody more riled up. We already got a reason. He's just giving us another one, to be honest.
So he imposed a dinner-time curfew, giving these protesters just minutes to get indoors or else.
As we speak, I am dispatching thousands and thousands of heavily armed soldiers, military personnel, and law enforcement officers to stop the rioting, looting, vandalism, assaults, and the wanton destruction of property.
So now a second group of several thousand protesters have begun marching in on this point. They've been yelling, "No peace, no justice, hands up, don't shoot."
Don't shoot! Don't shoot! Don't shoot!
The president then walked across the road, surrounded by Secret Service agents, to St John's Church that's been damaged by the rioters.
We have a great country. That's my thoughts.
I just saw Donald Trump literally walk 200 metres that way. There were reporters running as he walked towards the front of the White House, just hundreds of metres from protesters.
He doesn't care. Honest, he doesn't care. That's all I gotta say.
You're obviously very emotional.
Yes, because everything that's going on in this country, to us black people, is not fair.
We have the greatest country in the world. Thank you very much, everybody.
It's worth noting, just a short walk from here in 1963, Martin Luther King delivered the most famous civil rights speech of all.
I have a dream.
And it's never resonated more than right now.
We can never be satisfied as long as the Negro is the victim of the unspeakable horrors of police brutality.
Almost 60 years later, this nightmare is only getting worse by the day.
Our country always wins.
So tonight, the land of the free is in part under military curfew, and the home of the brave has a president under siege in the White House. Eamon Ashton-Atkinson for 10 News First, Washington.
Eamon Ashton-Atkinson joins us now. Eamon, have the clashes stopped yet?
Yes, Jen, well, here in DC, we haven't seen the violence that we've seen over the past few nights, and it's very quiet here outside the White House, as you can see. So I wanted to paint you a picture of America now. Tonight, we've seen Black Hawk helicopters flying low over groups of protesters as a show of force, and this is a tactic that's used in the Middle East, certainly not something you would expect to see over the nation's capital here. And second, right here in this very spot this afternoon, President Trump had peaceful protesters gassed so he could walk through that gate to this church for a photo opportunity. And now protesters are living with the threat that the country's military, the very institution that's supposed to protect them, could be deployed against them. Jen?
OK, thank you very much, Eamon. And outside Washington, violence and chaos flared for a 7th straight night in dozens of major American cities. Thousands of protesters defied a curfew in New York, with some of them breaking off to vandalise and rob high-end stores. While in Minneapolis, the brother of George Floyd visited the site of the death that sparked all of this.
Terrence Floyd brought flowers and prayers to the spot his brother's life was taken. His loss still raw and his anger obvious.
What are y'all doing? What are y'all doing? Y'all doing nothing. Because that's not going to bring my brother back at all.
With cities across the US burned and fire still raging in the hearts of many, he spoke directly to the rioters.
Y'all protest, y'all destroy stuff, and if they don't move, you know why they don't move? Because it's not their stuff, it's our stuff.
But his words fell on deaf ears in New York. Despite a curfew, shops and department stores were looted for another night. This is one of the protests in Los Angeles today, smack bang in the middle of Hollywood. As you can see, hundreds of people have turned out for this one. Curfew is in about 45 minutes' time, but these people want to see changes, and they want to see them quickly. Anger raw in a city that struggled with its own race issues.
Who do we call when we're sitting at home, minding our business, and we get shot?
Frustration with a seemingly never-changing environment on show.
If we have to riot, then we will riot, because we will make changes. We are tired.
Their request?
Simple. Acknowledgement, equality. It's a simple request. Treat us like you guys treat everybody else.
Amid the anger and the violence, a determination to make things better. This Los Angeles commander taking a knee in solidarity.
We stand together.
An act seen across the country.
I don't want us to fear for our life every time we just walk out the door.
Under the gaze of the National Guard, Santa Monica locals took up brushes and brooms to clean up what was made with bricks and flames.
Me and my friend just came and we painted, this is like our 5th wall that we painted around the city.
We're here today to be a part of the solution.
Something this divided nation desperately needs.
And Duncan is live now from Hollywood Boulevard. Duncan, it's not the tourist-friendly place we're used to seeing.
Good evening, Jennifer. It certainly is, and we've got the National Guard out in force here behind me. We've had helicopters flying above, we've had police cars zooming past, and of course the Hollywood Walk of Fame is about as quiet as you'll ever see. And it seems across the city of Los Angeles right now, these curfews each and every day are getting earlier and earlier. It was 1:30 p.m. in Santa Monica today, 5 p.m. in West Hollywood, and 6 p.m. all across LA County. We did see and experience some violence and some looting of businesses in the northern neighborhood of Van Nuys this afternoon. We spoke to store owners. They were absolutely devastated by the damage and destruction there. These protests all across the country, Jen, are about to enter into an 8th day, and at the moment there doesn't appear to be an end in sight.
OK, thank you very much, Duncan. Back home now, and there's been another spike in COVID-19 cases, with a further 10 Victorians testing positive. Among the new victims, a kindergarten teacher and an aged care worker.
The playground was quiet, classrooms empty as cleaners moved in. The McLeod preschool closed for business after a teacher tested positive to COVID-19 late last night. A sign on the door alerted parents and carers that a deep clean was underway. And for now, the preschool would be closed until further notice. Staff and students considered close contacts will need to quarantine for 2 weeks.
At least 12 children and at least 8 staff, but it may be more.
An outbreak was also declared at the Embracia Aged Care Facility at Reservoir after a carer tested positive.
That worker is self-isolating at home and all staff and visitors are considered to be close contacts and will be placed into quarantine.
The Federal Health Minister today admitted.
We keep our closest watch on Victoria.
And it'll be back to school again for some students who were told to stay home after outbreaks last week.
Intensive cleaning has occurred at Keilor Downs and it has reopened today. Extensive cleaning continues at Holy Eucharist and they'll be reopening tomorrow.
Tonight there are 79 active cases in Victoria. 9 people are in hospital, 2 are in intensive care. Christina Costalis for 10 News First.
Christina Costalis joins us live now. And Christina, what's the latest with the Ridges on Swanston outbreak? Guests have been moved.
That's right, Jen. They had to be because there just weren't enough. Jen, that's right. They had to be because they had to be moved to different hotels as the staff were put into quarantine because it became too difficult for management to keep the hotel running. The Ridges cluster increased from 8 cases to 12 overnight, so that's another 4 people who tested positive in just 24 hours. Jen?
OK, thank you very much, Christina. Well, people heading into the city can expect some big changes at our most famous intersection. For the next 2 years, drivers will be banned from turning left from St Kilda Road into Flinders Street. State political reporter Simon Love joins us live now. Simon, it's because of the Metro Tunnel, but exactly what's happening there?
Yeah, that's right, Jen. Works are really ramping up on the biggest infrastructure project to hit the city, and it's going to be a fairly major change from motorists heading northbound into the city. The left-hand turning lane, you can't see any cars using it right now, but it's fairly busy in other parts of the peak hour. This lane heading into from St Kilda Road into Flinders Street is going to be blocked off. There'll be a ban for 2 years. Cars won't be able to turn left and head that way in the city. The reason being that the Metro Tunnel project needs more trucks to be able to come out of this big shed where they're excavating soil and head either east towards the Eastern Freeway or west heading that way to get out of this Metro Tunnel site. So a fairly big change for motorists. Here's Rail Projects Victoria explaining what impact it'll have.
We're about to start removing a lot more material from these sites. And in particular the Federation Square site, because this is quite a constrained intersection here with pedestrians and cyclists and trams and cars, we need to manage the safety of that operation.
There's changes too for pedestrians. The intersection, the crossing just behind me, that's going to be blocked off as well. Pedestrians will have to go up further to Hosier Lane or even use this very famous pedestrian crossing. So big changes, they're all coming into place 1 a.m. tomorrow morning, Jen, and will be in place for at least 2 years.
OK, thank you, Simon. Scientists have made an extraordinary and bizarre breakthrough that means sea snails could help save people with diabetes. They're studying the venom a snail uses to paralyse its prey to create a new type of life-saving insulin.
The humble comb snail casually slides across the ocean bed until it sees a fish.
When it strikes, the snail's pace jumps to light speed.
It injects the fish with paralysing insulin venom that works instantly.
This struck us that perhaps there are unique properties to this insulin that enable it to work very quickly and to stop the fish from swimming by.
And this is where marine biology meets medicine.
It's to take the principles of the venom insulin and to make a human look-alike, so to speak.
In other words, modelling the poison that kills the fish to make insulin that saves humans. Alex was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes at 10. He spent much of his teens in hospital because he mistimed his insulin injections.
I've been to the stage where I'm like, just knock me out. I don't want to. I feel really sick. I feel unwell.
A faster-acting insulin may prevent those trips to emergency.
Almost 500 million people around the world have diabetes. The snail venom theory still needs to be put through clinical trials, which means it is, at best, years away from hitting the market.
Alex may be among the first to administer it. He's currently studying nursing.
My main goal is to hopefully become a diabetic educator.
Natasha Exelby for 10 News First.
Well, John Kennedy's influence on football is legendary, and now it's official, with the Hawthorn Premiership coach named a legend of our game. He's a towering figure at his beloved Hawks, helping to turn the club from cellar dwellers into an AFL powerhouse.
John Kennedy has always been a legend of Hawthorn. The AFL last night just made it official.
Well, I'm just thrilled that he's been recognised in this way, because I couldn't think of anyone better to receive such an honour.
It took Kennedy just 2 seasons as coach to lift Hawthorn from the bottom to its first ever premiership.
Hawthorn are premiers for the year 1961.
His teams trained and played hard and tough.
Training was very physical. It was very much match practice on a Wednesday night, one-on-one, around the circle, and John was umpire and there was no rules. So there was a lot of blood spilled.
Kennedy was a master orator.
Don't think, Mick! Don't hope! Do! At least you can come off and say, I did this!
Rodney Eade won a flag as an 18-year-old in his first year under Kennedy in 1976. As coach of Sydney, he invited Kennedy to speak to the players and remembers the impact he had on another legend, Tony Lockett.
Tony was captivated.
The Sydney captain is also Kennedy's grandson.
It was extremely special and a proud moment for the family as a whole.
John Kennedy's legacy isn't that he coached 3 premierships here at Hawthorn. It's more about the club he built and the club the Hawks have become. And this imposing statue is a permanent reminder.
There's hardly a thing happens at Hawthorn that doesn't have a John Kennedy feel about it.
The 91-year-old becomes the 29th legend of the AFL.
He's aware of what's been bestowed upon him, and he's very humbled by it.
Thank you very much, and thank you for your courtesy and goodwill.
Rob Waters for 10 News First.
And now here's Stephen, who's very happy about that legend status. Now the Players Association talking tough again.
Yeah, they are, Jen. Another standoff looms between the AFL and the players, who want to see the books before agreeing to any more cuts. Also the Bombers and the Swans, with plenty of rearranging to do as they prepare for their round 2 clash. And Brad Hill flies the flag for something close to his heart.
Thanks, Stephen. Coming up in 10 News First. Fresh clues in a cold case murder mystery. Detectives reveal the crime could be linked to a drug syndicate. And make way for the superload. A key piece of power station equipment hits the road.
Over the years, we have had some pretty amazing desserts, but none of them have been quite as unusual as the dessert that you're about to taste.
The MasterChef kitchen has never seen a dessert quite like this.
The main ingredient is actually...
What's inside?
What?
Will blow your mind.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is. Pretty amazing, huh?
The strangest ever dessert challenge, tonight on 10.
Just tell us what you want.
No more confusing offers!
Okay.
Just low prices!
Okay.
And, energy with a clean conscience.
It's okay. Sure. Not a problem.
Okay.
Great. Thank you.
Take charge and switch to Tango Energy today.
Save up to 10% on your first year's premium when you get a new Allianz home insurance policy online.
Okay, done.
Get that Allianz feeling. Search for a quote today.
A ticket in the MS Dream Home Lottery is more than a chance to win one of two $1.5 million grand prizes.
Thousands of Australians are living with multiple sclerosis, and at present there's no clear cause or cure. Our goal at MS is to help people living with multiple sclerosis to get the best out of every day. The money raised from the lottery helps us to do that, so thank you for your support.
You too can make a difference. Get your tickets today.
Get back to the game you love with a Drummond Golf sale. Get 10 to 20% off push buggies and bags, irons and iron sets. A minimum 20% off gloves and apparel. And a minimum 10% off packages. Now on at Drummond Golf.
At Harvey Norman, get a $300 bonus 12-month Kayo subscription with any 65-inch TV or above from our new 2020 range. Kayo is Australia's biggest sports streaming service. Watch the action live and on demand. This Samsung 75-inch Crystal 4K UHD Smart TV is just $2,295. Plus, you get a $300 bonus 12-month Kayo subscription. Hurry! $300 bonus Kayo subscription with selected 65-inch TVs. Limited time, now at Harvey Norman.
Go! If you're married to someone like this, there's only one thing to do.
Emily Butler, author of soon-to-be bestseller, My Husband.
Wow, that's definitely Greg.
It's got to be this one.
You're right. Print it.
How to Stay Married, tonight.
Welcome back. New details have emerged about a cold case murder raising hopes of a breakthrough. Xu Jian Lim was last seen alive in February 2015, but detectives say two cars in the area at the time could prove crucial to catching his killer.
It was a murder mystery that left detectives baffled. 5 years on, they're still searching for the killer.
The pieces are starting to slowly come together and provide us with a picture of what happened to Jian.
Xu Jian Lim was last seen alive in February 2015. The 26-year-old was reported missing by his sister in March. 6 months later, his badly decomposed body was found by university students. It was wrapped in plastic on a sandbank at Cobbledick's Ford Reserve.
This was a brutal crime. Anybody who's prepared to kill someone, wrap them in plastic and then dump them in the river has absolutely zero regard for human life.
New security vision of two cars at Mount Cottrell on the day Lim went missing could hold the key to catching his killer. His own car was dumped on a Laverton street. A witness told police a man of Asian appearance parked the car on Allen Street and left in a small four-wheel drive. The creek where Lim's body was dumped is in the middle of an isolated reserve and is surrounded by dense bushland, so it's easy to see how his remains went undetected for so long. Lim was a Malaysian national on an expired visa. Detectives say he was linked to a local cannabis syndicate and have questioned 4 associates who last saw him alive.
Those last known to have been with Jian have all given versions of events in relation to his movements, and we're far from satisfied with those accounts.
Jade Kotick for 10 News First.
A 100-metre-long superload began its journey from Melbourne's docks overnight, with crews moving ahead to clear the way as it went. The electrical component is destined for the Loy Yang power station. Weighing more than 640 tonnes, the giant load needed a gang of trucks to get it off. Only able to travel at 20 kilometres an hour, it will take until Wednesday to reach its destination. Let's take a look at the traffic now. Jess Miller has the best view in town from the chopper.
Thank you so much, Jen. Just over the city in the Aussie Home Loans traffic chopper, trying to see how crews are going with that sinkhole, but they're kind of hidden behind that tree and buildings. They've been working on it for most of the day. This is right in the middle of the city, closing off Collins Street eastbound to traffic. You can use Burke Street or Lonsdale Street if you need to travel through here tonight. Fortunately, trams are unaffected through this area, and we might try and spot that superload for you soon. Back soon, Jen.
OK, thank you, Jess. The Queensland Government has apologised to the family of a Blackwater man after tests revealed he did not have coronavirus. 30-year-old Nathan Turner died last week, and initial tests found he had COVID-19, forcing the central Queensland town into lockdown and 600 residents to be tested. But now the coroner has ruled he did not have the virus.
I would like to personally apologise to his partner and his family for any distress that our actions in responding rapidly have caused them.
For us to have that relief and to breathe easy, for Simone to be able to finally have the support she needs.
The The Queensland Premier has also come under fire, accused of using the case to keep the state's borders closed. And ahead in 10 News First, back into the sun. Europeans enjoy some good news in the fight against coronavirus. And a boost for Australia's bid to develop the first coronavirus vaccine.
And winter's with us. Again, it's out with the coats and the scarves. Wednesday's with us shortly.
Your home means more than ever, and so does having the right home loan. To understand your options, go straight to Aussie. We'll help ensure you have the right loan for right now.
It's the strangest dessert ever seen in the MasterChef kitchen.
The main ingredient is actually...
What's inside will blow your mind.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
The strangest ever dessert challenge on 10.
It continues 7:30 tonight.
I suddenly realized we're all in this together.
That feels especially true, given what's going on. It is good to know that our super will help us and our economy bounce back. And if you're with one of these, your super is invested in things that create jobs and keep Aussie businesses strong, delivering good long-term returns that benefit all of us. After all,
we're all in this together.
Which delicious new Arnott's Cracker Chips flavour will you try first? Hickory ribs with sticky glaze or mozzarella and basil bruschetta? Arnott's Cracker Chips, oven roasted, never fried.
I was on the servo and I saw on the CCTV screen this balding bloke with the same jacket as me. But when I turned around, there was nobody there. And that was it.
Reached your turning point? The doctors at Ashley and Martin could help regrow your hair.
There you go, swagger.
Steve? Domino's is bringing New York to your living room with the new tastier New Yorker range, now with even more authentic ingredients, like huge pepperoni on a giant-sized New York pizza. Try one from just $19.95 delivered from Domino's.
If I could give them 1 million stars, I would.
Another real review from a happy Aussie broadband customer. With thousands of 5-star reviews, an award-winning NBN network and all Australian support, we're shooting for the stars. Aussie Broadband. Can't beat feedback.
Get winter ready. Switch to Energy Australia and get a $50 electricity credit and a $50 gas credit. Plus, with Total Plan, get a total energy bill discount guaranteed. Join Energy Australia today.
Life's changed for all of us, but Bupa's here to help. Because isolation shouldn't mean you're on your own. Because you can't get out, we'll help you at home. Because our health has never been so important. And because by staying apart, we'll get through this together. Bupa, because life happens.
This is Penelope. She is used to the finer things in life and never settles for second best. That's why Penelope's owner is one of thousands who shop online at budgetpetproducts.com.au. Choose from hundreds of your favourite brands, like Sentinel Spectrum, the 3-in-1 protection against flea infestations, deadly heartworm and intestinal worms. With 6 packs under $79, it helps to keep any dog in tip-top condition, which is exactly how Penelope likes to be. Premium brands, affordable prices. budgetpetproducts.com.au.
You're watching 10 News First. Europe has marked a new chapter in the coronavirus crisis, but finally it's positive news from across the continent. 2 million vulnerable Brits have been allowed to leave their homes for the first time in months, while several countries recorded their lowest death tolls since March.
The tide is turning in Spain. Not one person lost their life to COVID-19 in the last 24 hours. That hasn't happened since March. The nation's death toll is 27,000. After one of the world's strictest lockdowns, Spaniards are soaking up the sun.
We're enjoying it again and we can see each other again at the office.
Across Europe, it finally feels like a new chapter. In Italy, once the globe's worst impacted nation, the Colosseum reopened to visitors overnight. Greece announced it's back to business for hotels, and Istanbul's historic Grand Bazaar reopened too.
It's weird. It's very exciting actually.
Right across Europe, there's optimism that the worst is over as people find new ways to do normal, including watching a game of football.
This is nice, so we can come here and support the team.
In the UK, 2 million of the most vulnerable people who were ordered to stay inside and not leave the house are now allowed out for the first time in more than 2 months. Schools are returning in Britain too. Relief for parents and students alike.
Because you're all cooped up together, it's just really hard to stay away and from each other and then staying in the same house.
Their newfound freedoms all the more special, with no guarantees a second wave of coronavirus won't force them back home again. Phoebe Bowden for 10 News First London.
For the first time in 30 years, police in Hong Kong have banned a vigil for the victims of China's 1989 Tiananmen Square massacre. Authorities claim the ruling is needed to enforce social distancing and prevent the spread of coronavirus. But it comes less than a week after the Chinese Communist Party announced new national security laws for the former British colony. More than 100,000 people attended the June 4th vigil last year, which has been held every year since 1990. And now here's Mike trying to keep warm as we look ahead to the weather.
Yes, thank you, Jen. Good evening. Well, again, it's been a grey and dismal day in Melbourne, but not nearly as cold as yesterday when it was just 11 degrees. Whew. 8 to 15 in Melbourne today, under cloudy skies, just a few very light spots of rain, and for the most part, the wind has been light. Overnight, 12 millimetres of rain falling in the city, 32 at Mount Dandenong, as we continue our wettest start to a year in 165 years on record. And as the rain comes tumbling down, there's always that question, but is the rain falling in the catchments? Released today by Melbourne Water results from May. Last month, 90.4 millimetres of rain fell over the 4 major catchments, which is nearly 12% above the last 30-year average. And as a result, storages have jumped 63.3%. That's up 2.4%, which equates to a whopping increase of 43.1 billion litres, way up on this time last year. 14 or 15 degrees the rest of the week. We'll check Wednesday's weather and also animals working from home soon. Jen.
Thank you, Mike. Well, the federal government will invest another $66 million into the creation of a vaccine to tackle COVID-19. The money will fund multiple research projects across the country as we continue the race to beat the virus.
Our laboratories have never been busier. Across the world, 6.2 million people have been diagnosed with COVID-19 and more than 370,000 have died. And Australia is well placed to find the solution.
Australia hasn't just been at the global forefront in containment and flattening the curve, but we are also blessed with leading researchers and institutions.
The federal government is giving another $66 million to our researchers who are trying to find treatments and ultimately a vaccine.
I think of the way we treat COVID-19 as the way we have tackled cancer over the last 40 years. We know that one approach isn't going to work.
The Walter and Eliza Hall Institute is already using health workers to test whether the anti-malaria drug hydroxychloroquine could guard them from COVID-19. It's also looking into the specific proteins that make up the virus, which have been made clearer by the Australian synchrotron.
This has given us wonderful insight exactly what the protein looks like and what kind of nooks and crannies it has and where we have to direct our our drugs against.
Australia is flattening the coronavirus curve, and our rigorous testing is a big part of that. Across the country, more than 1.5 million tests have been done, 1/3 of those in Victoria alone.
Our testing regime is one of the fundamental things which has safeguarded and protected Australians.
Our next job is to kill the virus. Candice Wyatt for 10 News First.
And still to come, we'll update you on our breaking stories. And the 3-metre deep sinkhole that suddenly appeared on busy Collins Street.
It's the strangest dessert ever seen in the MasterChef kitchen.
The main ingredient is actually...
What's inside will blow your mind.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
The strangest ever dessert challenge, tonight on 10.
Get some sun cream on your
Not
face.
being able to do the things we love and used to take for granted is tough right now. But it doesn't give you the green light.
Oi! Where are you? Come here! What is this doing on the ground? I just tripped.
Staying at home is hard, but it's not a good reason. There's never a good reason for abuse. If you see it or hear it, call it out. Supported by the Victorian Government.
Land Rover Main Event. Our centrepiece of outstanding offers. Beginning with savings that leave the GST behind. And a 5-year warranty. All yours on Range Rover Sport. On now.
Thanks to Light and Easy, Australians of all ages can enjoy their choice of delicious, nutritious meals in the comfort and safety of their own home. Especially those at a greater health risk during these times. If you or someone close to you could benefit by having Light and Easy meals delivered safely with our contactless delivery service, visit lightandeasy.com.au or call us on 13 15 12.
Chloe and Zoe are twins and Amy customers, so you have the same taste.
We both like our crafted cushions and finished faux fur. We love our HD, LED, LCD, 4K, pixel TVs.
Do you choose to save now or later on your insurance?
Later.
Buy a home or car insurance policy and Amy Flexi Premiums lets you vary your excess to save now or later. Choose a higher excess to save now or choose a lower excess to save at claim time.
You're with Amy.
Get into The Good Guys and get hot buys on fridges and laundry. This LG fridge only $988. This hire washer only $395. This chest freezer only $395. Plus this salt dryer only $298. See more in our catalogue only at The Good Guys.
Delivery unlimited? Delivery unlimited?
Get your Woolies worth with Woolworths Delivery Unlimited. Start your 30-day free trial today.
That's another reason to pick Woolies.
Australians of all ages are choosing Light and Easy. Light and Easy can even assist those on aged care home care packages. If you or someone close to you could benefit by having healthy meals delivered, call us on 13 15 12.
You've dreamed of places to go. You promised one day. Now, one day is here. New adventures. Wide open spaces. So, you can't travel the world right now. So what? New South Wales is here for you. Let's all reboot 2020. One unforgettable experience at a time. Now's the time to love New South Wales.
What is this doing on the ground?
Staying at home every day is hard, but it's never a good reason for abuse. For more information, visit respectvictoria.vic.gov.au. Supported by the Victorian Government.
If you're married to someone like this, there's only one thing to do.
It's got to be this one.
Print it. How to Stay Married, tonight.
Hello there. Coronavirus restrictions have delivered a massive boom in online shopping and perhaps a source for the COVID kilos. Figures for April show takeaway food purchases were up nearly 200% compared to last year and up 26% on March. Overall, online sales recorded their highest ever monthly growth rate. The annual increase also broke records for the NAB series. And consumers are continuing to feel better about the economy and their personal finances. Confidence is up 6% this week. It's the 9th straight week of gains, and that's unprecedented. And we'll find out tomorrow how the economy is actually going when the first quarter GDP figures are released. A range of economists updated their forecast today on the back of fresh Bureau of Statistics data. Now, there's been a slight improvement, but they're still predicting the economy will shrink by between 0.1 and 0.4%. Now, this afternoon, the Reserve Bank Governor revealed it's possible the COVID-19 downturn may not be as bad as first feared. The RBA also kept interest rates on hold at 0.25%. So the share market rallied, closing up almost 16 points. Woolworths staff, the ones getting shares and store credit, as a thank you from the company for their hard work during the pandemic. The dollar is hovering around 68 US cents after hitting 4-month highs earlier today. And that's finance.
Gillian Bowen reporting. Well, the cattle industry has won a landmark case after the federal court ruled a government ban on live exports in 2011 was invalid. The action could now be worth hundreds of millions of dollars.
From their cattle station in the top end, Emily Brett's family spearheaded the industry's beef with the Commonwealth in the federal court, fighting on even after her husband Dougal died in a chopper crash.
I can hear him saying to me, "Don't give up, don't give up, you've got this, keep going."
And today, they won.
We suffered immense financial hardship because of this. So much stress. It was overwhelming at times.
It's been 9 years since the then Labor government banned live cattle exports to Indonesia after shocking animal cruelty was exposed.
That incident could have been and should have been addressed in isolation without the reckless banning of an industry and the devastation of an industry.
After 18 months deliberating, Justice Stephen Reris ruled the 6-month ban was reckless and invalid.
Such a total prohibition was capricious and unreasonable and made the ban order invalid.
He was scathing of the then Agriculture Minister Joe Ludwig.
Made the ban order shutting his eyes to the risk that it might be invalid and to the damage that was calculated to cause.
This ruling opens the door to the industry seeking hundreds of millions of dollars in compensation. The court found more than 412,000 cattle could have been exported properly if instead of a ban order, the minister had put in place an order with an exceptions power.
Today righted a wrong.
Emily is proud her children saw her fight. If only their dad was here too.
All I want in this moment is to share this day with him.
Ali Donaldson for 10 News First.
Collins Street had to be closed to eastbound traffic this morning after a broken pipe caused a sinkhole to open up in the middle of the road. Although it appeared shallow at first glance, workmen repairing the hole found the cavity reached a depth of 3 metres in places. Fortunately, it was noticed before it caused any accidents. Workmen have spent the day repairing the road. Well, let's take another look at our roads. It's back up to the traffic chopper and Jess Miller.
Thank you, Jen. We're flying along the Monash in the Aussie Home Loans traffic chopper. We nearly found the superload for you. He's taking a rest in the parking bay off the South Keyte Freeway after a big night out in Port Melbourne last night, but pilot Alex said the weather was closing in, so we had to bail on that idea. We did catch some decent delays on the way back, though. The Monash outbound looking extremely heavy from Eastlink through to the South Keyte, and also some flashing lights amongst all that. Jen?
Thank you, Jess. And now here's Stephen with Tuesday Sport. And an AFL star is allergic to the cold.
Don't laugh, Jen. It's a real thing. We'll tell you who next in sport. Also, the Bomber hoping to be your next average Joe. Another standoff looming between the players and the league over cutbacks. And from Dan Marino to Marina is another Dolphin set to take the NFL by storm.
Your home means more than ever, and so does having the right home loan. To understand your options, go straight to Aussie. We'll help ensure you have the right loan for right now.
Are we closer in closing the gap faced by Indigenous Australians?
If you're married to someone like this, There's only one thing to do.
Emily Butler, author of soon-to-be bestseller, My Husband.
Wow, that's definitely Greg.
It's got to be this one.
You're right. Print it.
How to Stay Married, tonight.
This is a Nature Valley checklist. Whole grain oats? Yes. Artificial colours and flavours? No. Delicious ingredients? Yes. Preservatives? No. Big taste? Yes. Nature Valley. Get more out.
This is how legends are made. Lightning inside me. Or just you watch. This is how legends are made. Like a titan that's rising.
The legendary Toyota Supra is back. Experience the exhilaration for yourself.
This is how legends are made.
Oh, what a feeling. Toyota.
Time's running out to enter the MS Dream Home Lottery. And when you can win a $1.5 million grand prize, tickets are selling fast. Hurry and get yours today.
Meet the revolutionary Sleeping Duck mattress reimagined by aerospace engineers. The first mattress ever to win Choice's Best Overall Mattress 2 years in a row. It comes manufacturer direct, free of markup. Sleeping Duck, incredible quality with incredible value.
Well, you can't go to a packed-out cinema just yet. That doesn't mean you can't get a blockbuster taste. The classic Buller Choc Top at Coles for a limited time only. Some things are just unfakeable.
Chloe and Zoe are twins and Amy customers, so you're identical and you're always on the same page.
Yeah.
2 words.
William Shakespeare.
Yes! A book.
The Count of Monte Cristo. Yes!
What?
Do you choose to save now or later on your insurance?
Later.
Buy a home or car insurance policy and Amy Flexi Premiums lets you vary your excess to save now or later. Choose a higher excess to save now or choose a lower excess to save at claim time.
You're with Amy.
Here you go, Swagger.
Steve?
Domino's is bringing New York to your living room with the new tastier New Yorker range, now with even more authentic ingredients, like huge pepperoni on a giant-sized New York pizza. Try one from just $19.95 delivered from Domino's.
The main ingredient is actually... What?
It's the strangest dessert ever seen in the MasterChef kitchen.
Good evening. The AFL is being told to open the books if it wants to broker a new pay deal with the players. Rob Waters joins us from the newsroom. Rob, the Players Association won't be budging on this demand.
Good evening, Stephen. Well, this is the start of what's expected to be a lively renegotiation of the collective bargaining agreement. Paul Marsh was in a feisty mood this morning. He said they won't agree to anything until they've actually seen the numbers, and he also cast doubt on whether the AFL clubs' lists need to be reduced at all. Now, these are the two central issues of the new deal. Just how significant will the players' pay cuts be and just how many footballers will lose their jobs? The timing of Marsh's comments has raised a few eyebrows within the AFL and in clubland, given all their energy at the moment is going to getting the season up and running in just over a week's time. But here is what Paul Marsh had to say this morning.
It's not appropriate for us to be going in and considering a change to a deal that's already in place in a blind sense. Like, we actually need to know what the impact is here, and the AFL need to show that, and then we work through it. Under our deal, the AFL would need to have a hit, or the industry would need to have a hit of a significant amount over 2 consecutive years. Well, like, list sizes is one that we haven't yet seen a compelling case for change.
The AFL says it will sit down with the Players Association once the season resumes to start negotiations. Marsh's comments are interesting, given no one in the industry doubts that there will be pay cuts and significant pay cuts, given that the fact that hundreds of millions of dollars have already been lost since the pandemic hit in March. But this is a very important new deal and one that will shape the competition over the next 2 to 3 years.
Thanks to Rob Waters. St Kilda's Bradley Hill says he respects Hawk Chad Wingard's self-imposed media ban, but won't follow the same path. Instead, he spoke out about racism, declaring while there's still work to be done, Australia is making inroads.
A proud Noongar man, Bradley Hill admits in National Reconciliation Week the scenes in the US cut deep.
It does hit you at the heart sometimes, and it is pretty bad what's going on over there, but it is a different part of the world. It's not blacks versus whites, it's everyone else versus racism. So it's something that's getting better over here, but there's still stuff that does go on, and hopefully can get better.
The former Hawk expects Indigenous Games record holder Sean Burgoyne to help Wingard through the issue. And while Hill respects his stance, he won't follow his lead.
End of the day, you have your own decision, and if that's what Chad wants to do, I respect his decision, and I can't do nothing about it, and that's the way he feels. So that's his own opinion.
The Saints will have to wait a little longer than most to get back to footy with the Sunday night slot against the Dogs. And Hill is itching to get going again, promising to bring that familiar dash and dare.
The freedom that Rats gives you as players is he wants you to go out there and play an instinct and play the way you play, and that's a good thing about Ratsy.
He'll also bring a dose of creativity to the big freeze to fight MND, taking on the slide despite a somewhat bizarre revelation that he's allergic to the cold, taking antihistamines every day to manage his symptoms.
I get like real red face and like my fingers swell up and stuff. It's weird. When I never used to take them, I used to get it real bad. So it's just, even when I jump in the ice baths, the grass, it's the cold weather.
Keyte Price for 10 News First.
Essendon forward Sean McKernan is ready to spearhead the Bombers' attack after a COVID scare saw him miss round one. And he'll have plenty of work to do with Joe Danaher and Orazio Fantasia out injured.
Sean McKernan is ready to be let off the leash. The Bombers forward missed round one back in March with genuine fears he may have contracted coronavirus.
I got tested twice in that stage, so it was a little bit scary and thought I might have had it, but they ended up figuring out it was pneumonia.
Having fully recovered, his presence in the Bombers' forward line will be vital in the absence of some key figures. Joe Danaher's recovery from ongoing groin problems is progressing, but his exact return is still unknown.
Obviously, Joe's been in and out for the last couple of years, and at times I've had to take on that role, but it's something that I welcome and something I get excited by.
Orazio Fantasia's quad injury is also untimely, but McKernan is confident he will only miss the round two clash against the Swans, and he's backing a flexible and versatile Bombers forward group to step up.
The most exciting thing about it is that we know that we can each play tall or small, we can play multiple roles.
The Swans are unperturbed by injury concerns of their own, with Buddy Franklin and Sam Reid unavailable.
We just get on with it, and it's going to give opportunity for other players, and that's the good thing about footy.
Isaac Heaney will likely be the main focal point again after his 4-goal haul against Adelaide.
She showed him round one how damaging and he can be down there, and how hard a matchup he is. So I think no doubt he'll probably spend a bit more time forward.
Alex Malcolm for 10 News First.
Melbourne Storm's second rower Felice Kaufusi says the NRL's change to one referee and the new 6-again rule has sped up the game dramatically. The Storm won their first 2 rounds under the old rules, but were hammered by the Canberra Raiders last Saturday, with Kaufusi admitting his side needs to adjust quickly.
The pace is a step above what it has been, so we just got to get our heads around it and try and adapt, like I said, to playing that type of footy.
The Storm host the Rabbitohs on Friday night. The James Cummings trained Trekking hopes to become the first horse in a decade to win back-to-back Stradbroke handicaps on Saturday. The 5-year-old will have to do it the hard way, though, with the heaviest jockey in the field, and that's not all. Key members of the team have been forced to spend 30 days quarantined from the track in the lead-up.
Oh, it'd be a great meaning for the team, back at home. They put a lot of effort into these horses that come up here, and, it's been a big team effort by everyone.
The Gay Waterhouse trained Dawn Passage is the favourite, while Trekking has the next best odds. Talk about turning defence into attack. Leipzig's keeper went from saving a shot to creating one in his side's 4-2 win in the Bundesliga.
On Galacci's gone for an early release of Timo Werner. He's one-on-one with Timo Horn, and cool as he like, Timo.
And while Cologne didn't collect a point on the night, it did create a cracking highlight of its own. NFL teams needing a wide receiver, look no further. We found you a deep threat. This dolphin thrives in wet conditions. That's no dolphin. That ain't no dolphin. So we seem to have lost that vision, have we? Yes, we have. Our apologies for that. So I think we'll wrap it up from there, Jen.
Hopefully we might see the dolphin a bit later. OK, thank you very much, Stephen. And Mike's back with his 7-day forecast, and judging by the temperatures, winter has well and truly arrived.
Are we closer in closing the gap faced by Indigenous Australians?
It's the strangest dessert ever seen in the MasterChef kitchen.
The main ingredient is actually...
What's inside will blow your mind.
No, it's not. Yes, it is.
The strangest ever dessert challenge, tonight on 10.
1, 2, 3, 4. So clap it back. Hey, clap, clap. So clap it back. Hey, I'm daddy, give you right back. 'Cause you're not gonna stand around living like that. So clap it back. Clap it, clap, clap. Alright, so clap it back. Hey.
Centrum provides multiple health benefits in just one tablet. Centrum, complete from A to Zinc.
Thanks for calling ING. This is Adam speaking. How can I help you? No, I'm currently working from home.
Oh, you can call anytime, so...
Sorry. And she's currently nibbling at my toe right now.
Yeah, working from home was a bit tricky at first, but...
There's definitely been some stray farts, hasn't there, mate?
And now your loan's on a fixed rate. Can I help you with anything else?
No, you made my day.
Well, whatever 2020 throws at you, we're here for a chat anytime.
Too easy.
We miss you. Come for dinner. We're getting Hungry Jack's delivered.
Feed the family. Get Hungry Jack's Flame Grilled Whoppers delivered now on Uber Eats or Menulog. Hungry Jack's Delivery. The burgers are better.
So many things can change in 12 weeks. One of the least to change, the vibrancy of your hair colour. Tresemme Colour Shine Flex. Sulfate-free. Keeps colour more vibrant for up to 12 weeks. Hair defined by Tresemme. The rest is defined by you.
Time's running out to enter the MS Dream Home Lottery. And when win a $1.5 million grand prize, tickets are selling fast. Hurry and get yours today.
If you've been injured at work, on the road or in a public place, your normal life can suddenly stop, including your income. With Slater & Gordon, you can check if you have a claim for compensation online in minutes. We'll manage your claim so you can focus on what's really important, getting your future started again. With Slater & Gordon, tomorrow starts today.
Welcome to Sushi Sushi. We can't wait till you see what we've done here. Like these fresh new menu items for starters, all made with the quality and freshness that we're famous for. Come on in to Sushi Sushi.
Super easy to set up a smart home through Bunnings.
Smart digital deadbolt, only $309. Alex Smart Globe, just $23.98.
Where you find a competitor's lower price and the same stocked item will beat it by 10%. Shop at Bunnings wherever you are, whenever you want.
Welcome back. Well, it's the second day of winter and it certainly felt like it. Here's Mike.
Yeah, thank you, Jen. Good evening. It was a chilly day again outside. Not as cold as yesterday, but tomorrow will be colder than today. But more on that shortly. Quick reminder also, later in the news, your chance to win a year's worth of groceries. How good is that? That's coming up soon in the news. Just keep an eye out for that code word. OK, some fabulous photos now that have been sent to Mike's Picks at network10.com.au. I got to laugh at this one. Quite pleased with himself. Strider has finished another Harry Potter book in Glen Iris. So now it's outside for a spot of Quidditch. And Tali, a school teacher from Mont Albert North, doing a little homeschooling for Bubble. I don't think Bubble can reach the keyboard. Bubble is in trouble. Okay, 8 degrees was the overnight low in Melbourne. 16 degrees our max at 3 o'clock, but it's been 15 for much of the afternoon. And outside right now, very pleasant at 14 degrees. The humidity at 65%. Around town today, again, it was sort of chilly. Yeah, up at Mount Dandenong. Temperature range of just 5 to 9 degrees. Cloudy with 1.5 millimetres of rain. They've had around 45 mils at Mount Dandenong in the past few days. Across our state, and again, it's been grey today, up to 8 millimetres of rain falling in the northeast. Overnight, up to 39 mils near the Alps. The wind today reaching 85 k's at the Prom. 16 degrees today's max in Melbourne, in Mildura, Walpia, and also in the east. And after just 6 degrees in Ballarat yesterday, whoa, much more comfortable, 10 today. Around Australia, and over in Perth, where a guy, well, he left his girlfriend because all she would do was listen to Linkin Park. But in the end, it doesn't even matter. 20 degrees in Adelaide, 17, a bit of light rain. Hobart, 15 degrees. Or Sydney's chilly, 15, 8 to 15. They should today be dressing like people in Melbourne with a bit of class. And light snow fell about the New South Wales Northern Tablelands. The charts, a large high centred over the Bight, will continue to direct coolish winds over us. A front approaching Western Australia. That'll bring Victoria rain late Saturday. The rainfall chart, just a slight chance of just a slight shower in the south and the east tonight and tomorrow, and snow showers in the Alps. So that's it for us. Interstate over to Adelaide, 16 degrees and partly cloudy. Hobart, 7 to 11 with morning showers. Brisbane, 21, 22 the next 3 days. 18 degrees and mainly sunny in Sydney, but still windy. And Canberra, 13 degrees the rest of the week. And after tomorrow, more sub-zero nights. Across our state, isolated showers in southern and mountain areas and snow about the peaks tonight. Tomorrow will begin foggy in the northeast, but mostly dry tomorrow. Southwesterly winds fresh at times in the far southeast. Shepparton 7 to 14. We'll look at the radar. Yeah, you've got to look really closely. Just the odd spot of rain in the greater Melbourne area. Tomorrow, take note, a gale warning for the Gippsland coast, a strong wind warning for the rest of the coast and both bays. Around Melbourne, Geelong 9 to 14, Frankston 10 to 14. At Mount D, still single figures, 7 to 9, and in the Yarra Valley down to 7 and up to 13. And out on those bays, southwesterly winds of 30 knots. They'll tend southerly to 25, and the sun rising these days not until close to 7:30. And now for our good look in City by the Bay, cloudy, just the odd spot of rain tonight, mainly in the outer eastern suburbs. Tomorrow, 10 to 14 and partly cloudy. A 40% chance of showers, increasing to 60% in the northeast, but only up to half a mil. On to Thursday, cool but mainly sunny, 6 to 13, light winds, possibly some morning fog. On to Friday, again a chilly morning, 5 to 14, mainly sunny, and Storm play the Rabbitohs that night. Saturday, 5 to 13, cloudy. Late showers are possible with light winds. Sunday, 8 to 13 degrees and wet, 2 mils of rain and southerly winds. Monday, 13, possible showers. Tuesday, 14, partly cloudy. But tomorrow in Melbourne, a fairly grey 10 to 14 degree Wednesday.
The developing stories we're following tonight. Donald Trump warns he'll turn America's military might on rioters. A kindergarten at the centre of a coronavirus scare as the outbreak linked to a hotel grows. And no left turn ahead, major changes to one of the city's busiest intersections. Violent protests have again swept through dozens of US cities, just hours after President Donald Trump vowed to call in the military if local authorities couldn't put a stop to the anarchy. US correspondent Eamon Ashton-Atkinson is in Washington, D.C. and joins us live now. Eamon, it's been an extraordinary night.
Jen, it certainly has been extraordinary times here in the United States. Donald Trump's critics saying today that lines were crossed, and chief amongst them was the president's threat to, quote, dominate groups of his citizens with the military, the very institution that is supposed to protect them. And we're already starting to see some signs of that perhaps happening tonight, with Black Hawk helicopters flying very low over DC in a show of force. This is a tactic that you would expect to see in the Middle East, not something you would expect to see in Washington, D.C. And also, in this very spot, peaceful protesters were tear gassed to clear a path for the president to come stand outside this church for a photo opportunity. Jen, this is the sobering reality of America right now.
A violent clear-out. A
of what had been, at least today, a peaceful rally. This is what was happening just outside the White House gates, as inside the president addressed the nation, declaring himself
an ally of all peaceful protesters.
But warning.
We are ending the riots and lawlessness that has spread throughout our country. We will end it now.
Stun grenades, tear gas. And still 20 minutes until curfew. Even an Australian TV crew wasn't spared.
That's a photographer.
And why? So Mr. Trump could walk outside and across the road to what's known as the Church to the President's, recently torched for a bizarre photo op. As sirens blared in the background.
Is that your Bible?
The local bishop called it an outrage, adding Mr. Trump didn't even stop to pray.
I am dispatching thousands and thousands of heavily armed soldiers, military personnel, and law enforcement officers.
He called the looting and violence a total disgrace and declared if state governors don't use the National Guard to stop it,
then I will deploy the United States military and quickly solve the problem for them.
The might of the US military being turned on its own people.
No justice!
Across the country, protests raged for a seventh day. There was more looting in New York. Arrests outside the famous Radio City Music Hall.
Chill, bro.
And at one point, a policeman there pointed his gun at the crowd. In Minneapolis, George Floyd's brother, for the first time, grieved at the place where he died in police custody. He called for the violent riots to end.
If I'm not over here messing up my community, come on. Then what are y'all doing? What are y'all doing? Y'all doing nothing. Because that's not going to bring my brother back at all.
The official post-mortem has declared Floyd's death a homicide. He suffered a cardiac arrest while being restrained. But there are some encouraging signs of unity. The NYPD taking a knee in support of demonstrators.
That's what we want.
Elsewhere, police marched with them.
Hey, we're here with y'all.
And here in the deep south, Louisiana, an officer comforts a teenage protester, telling him, we're all here together. Daniel Sutton for 10 News First.
Back home now, and there's been another spike in Victoria's COVID-19 cases with a further 10 people testing positive. Christina Costalis joins us live now. Christina, where are the latest cases?
Well, Jen, a teacher from the McLeod preschool tested positive late last night. A sign on the door said that the kindergarten will be closed until further notice. So 12 students and around 8 teachers will now have to go into quarantine for around 2 weeks. Now, in relation to another outbreak, an aged care facility in Melbourne's north has also seen a carer there test positive. A worker is now self-isolating at home. And as for the ridges on Swanston, a cluster there has increased from 8 to 12 cases.
We know that it is linked to other cases in returned travellers, but we're still undertaking investigations as to exactly how this particular cohort of staff were exposed.
Tonight, there are now 79 active cases in Victoria. There are around 9 people in hospital. 2 are in intensive care. Jen?
Okay, thank you very much, Christina. Detectives have revealed new information they hope could solve a cold case murder. Xu Jian Lim was last seen alive in February 2015, but it's possible he was the victim of a drug syndicate. Jade Kotick has more.
It's been 5 years since Xu Jian Lim's body was found floating in this creek at Mount Cottrell. His killer has never been found. Detectives today released CCTV of vehicles in the vicinity of Cobbledick's Ford Streamside Reserve, where the 26-year-old's decomposed remains were found wrapped in plastic on a sandbank by a group of university students. The Malaysian national was last seen at a friend's house 6 months prior and was reported missing by his sister in March of the same year. In a fresh appeal for information, Victoria Police has also also released photos of Lim and his car, a silver Toyota sedan that was found dumped at Laverton. Detectives believe his alleged killer or killers dumped the vehicle on February 20 before discarding Lim's body more than 20 kilometres away.
We know that on the day that he was last seen, Gian had spent a significant period of time at the Covent Gardens Point Cook property with 4 people. Those 4 people still remain persons of interest in relation to this investigation.
At the time of his death, Lim had overstayed his visa in Australia and was connected to a drug syndicate in the area. The homicide squad questioned a number of Lim's associates who saw him last and say their stories just don't stack up. Regardless of Lim's connections, detectives want justice for his family. Anyone with information should contact Crime Stoppers.
Jade Keyte reporting. Motorists heading into the city will soon face big changes where St Kilda Road meets Flinders Street as the Metro Tunnel project ramps up. Simon Love is there. Simon, what's changing?
Well, Jen, from 1 a.m. tomorrow morning, cars that are travelling northbound into the city from St Kilda Road won't be able to turn left into Flinders Street. Fairly quiet at the moment, but stop-start fairly busy in the evening peak. So they won't be able to turn left because trucks are going to have to come out of this big shed which is helping excavate soil for the Metro Tunnel. And also this pedestrian crossing is going to have a heap more foot traffic because the pedestrian crossing to my left here is going to be moved, shut down here at this intersection and moved up to Hosier Lane. Here's Rail Projects Victoria to explain more.
Anyone heading up towards the city who would have previously turned left into Flinders, depending on where they want to go to on the western side of the city, they can turn off at Kingsway or they can turn off at Southbank Boulevard and access that western side.
Metro Tunnel works underneath where we are right now are really ramping up. A lot more soil is starting to be excavated by trucks and being taken out of the city to certified dumping sites. So this project, we're told, is on track, set to open by 2025, but the changes here at this intersection, Jen, set to be in place for up to 2 years.
OK, thank you very much, Simon. Scientists have made an extraordinary and bizarre breakthrough that means sea snails could help save people with diabetes. They're studying the venom a snail uses to paralyse its prey to create a new type of life-saving insulin.
And that's what we're trying to do, is to take the principles of the venom insulin and to make a human look-alike, so to speak.
The goal is to make ultra-rapid acting insulin that would improve the quality of life for diabetics. Well, let's see what's happening on our roads now. Here's Jess Miller in the traffic chopper.
Thanks, Jen. Over the Calder in the Aussie Home Loans traffic chopper, there's been a collision just before the Ring Road. This is closing off 2 lanes and causing big delays. You can see them as we look to the left of the chopper. This is outbound traffic, absolutely crawling from the Tullamarine Freeway right through to the scene of the smash. This is about as bad as the freeway delays get for now. The rest of the majors looking pretty good. The only other time you'll be slowing down is on the Monash. Jen?
OK, thank you, Jess. Stephen's back now and the Players Association is talking tough again.
Yes, they are, Jen. Before they agree to any more cuts, they want hard evidence from the league that times will be tough. The tall order ahead for a Bombers journeyman and the long road to the Stradbroke. Godolphin goes to great lengths to have a crack at Saturday's race.
Your home means more than ever, and so does having the right home loan. To understand your options, go straight to Aussie. We'll help ensure you have the right loan for right now.
Civil unrest, a mishandled pandemic and economic collapse. Can Trump survive as president? More tonight on The Project.
Carpet stains can be so distressing and you never know what to use on them until now. With Carpet Coal's amazing absorbent Wonder Block. Take this fresh cola spill, simply blot it up with the Wonder Block, rinse and repeat, and the stain is gone. Even on this old stain, spray it with Carpet Stain Remover, leave it for a few minutes, and blot it up with a dampened Wonder Block. The amazing Wonder Block is available now in all our stores and online at carpetcoal.com.au.
The experts in the trade.
Do you have heartburn or indigestion? Gaviscon Dual Action relieves them both. It works fast, 2 ways.
It neutralises excess stomach acid and it forms a protective barrier to help stop stomach acid from rising. Gaviscon Dual Action.
Cookie people, cream people, crumbs people, clean people, twist people, lick people, dunk people, munch people. It's on the play, people. If you twist, lick, dunk, then you're my people. We are Oreo people.
Tough times don't excuse tougher times at home. Even in crisis, there's no place for abuse or domestic violence. If you're worried about your actions or relationship, help is available online and by phone 24/7. For free, confidential advice and counselling, contact Men's Line. There's no place for abuse or domestic violence. Help is here. Authorised by the Australian Government, Canberra.
So many things can change in 12 weeks. One of the least to change, the vibrancy of your hair colour. Tresemme Colour Shine Flex. Sulfate-free. Keeps colour more vibrant for up to 12 weeks. Hair defined by Tresemme. The rest is defined by you.
Head to Macca's if a little treat is what you need and grab 24 Chicken McNuggets for just $9.95 or a large sundae for only $3. For your Macca's run, contact-free, we'll be here.
People are really surprised at what we do have and what we stock. We've got a full smart home range from lights to security locks to cameras, everything to control your home in a smart way.
We use the security system that we've got from Bunnings to look at our dogs when they're being naughty. We can just say, Billy, Georgia, and they'll just look at the camera and they know.
So you can have this amazing tech for a really low price.
Shop at Bunnings wherever you are, whenever you want.
Oh dear, it looks like she's not feeling too good. A cup of Lemsip Max Multi-Relief should do the trick. Its multi-action formula helps relieve up to 6 cold and flu symptoms. Lemsip, that's better.
This is how legends are made.
The legendary Toyota Supra is back. Experience the exhilaration for yourself.
This is how
oh, what a feeling. Toyota.
Over the years, we have had some pretty amazing desserts. None of them have been quite as unusual as the dessert that you're about to taste.
The MasterChef kitchen has never seen a dessert quite like this.
The main ingredient is actually...
What's inside?
What?
Will blow your mind.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is. Pretty amazing, huh?
The strangest ever dessert challenge, tonight on 10.
The first shots have been fired between the AFL and the Players Association over the new pay deal. Rob Waters joins us. Rob, the players appear to be in a feisty mood.
Yes, Stephen. Well, Paul Marsh, the CEO of the Players Association, was talking tough today. He says the players won't sign any new deal until they've seen concrete evidence that the finances have been devastated for over a 2-year period. Now, he's also raised doubt as to whether club lists should be reduced next year. Now, this has raised a few eyebrows within the AFL, given it won't be that hard for them to prove that the finances have taken a massive hit, given there have been huge staff losses across all of the 18 clubs in the AFL. The AFL have lost a high level of staff numbers as well, and hundreds of millions of dollars have been taken out. So let's hear what Paul Marsh had to say.
It's not appropriate for us to be going in and considering a change to a deal that's already in place. In a blind sense, like we actually need to know what the impact is here, and the AFL need to show that, and then we work through it. Under our deal, the AFL would need to have a hit, or the industry would need to have a hit of a significant amount over 2 consecutive years. Well, like list sizes is one that we haven't yet seen a compelling case for change.
There's always some argy-bargy in these negotiations. You'd expect a deal to get done later on in the year. The AFL says it will sit down with the Players Association once the season gets underway. But while very dry, this is a very important agreement and one that will shape the competition over the next 2 to 3 years.
Thanks to Rob Waters. Bradley Hill says balance will be the name of the game for the Saints when they resume their season against the Bulldogs Sunday week. He says players have been encouraged to play on instinct by coach Brett Ratten, but at times they need to better control the ball.
There's got to be times in games where we probably don't want to be going too fast and, and playing with a bit more gears and slowing it down, when probably that's something we probably should have done against North Melbourne, where we probably were playing too quick and just taking the game on a bit too much.
Hill will take on the big freeze for the Saints, despite revealing today he is allergic to the cold. Essendon forward Sean McKernan is ready to stand tall in the absence of injured pair Joe Danaher and Orazio Fantasia.
Obviously, Joe's been in and out for the last couple of years, and at times I've had to take on that role, but it's something that I welcome and something I get excited by.
The Bombers head to Sydney to face the Swans in round 2, who are without Lance Franklin and Sam Reid. The Godolphin team will enter 4 horses in this Saturday's Stradbroke Handicap in Brisbane. The feat is far more impressive than meets the eye, with key members of the stable undergoing 30 days of quarantine in the lead up to the race.
Never has a stable been so grateful for a 5 a.m. start. And it's understandable when you've spent the last 15 days locked away from what you do best.
It's just something that we've had to do and abide by the racing rules and the government rules. So, no, it's been trying, but yeah, we got through it well.
I didn't lose a bit of fitness. I was walking and running for a bit, but riding horses is completely different, and I can feel it now already.
Laughs aside, this is a team that clearly means business. Having also gone through the same length quarantine in Adelaide with trekking just over 2 weeks ago in the lead up to the Goodwood Stakes.
It's in front, Keyte and Trekking. Trekking got up to win final stride and took the Goodwood.
That was, exceptional win, and to do that and come up here, and he's in good order. He's arrived in good order. The team have sent him up in a great position.
The 5-year-old gelding isn't the only runner the Blue Army's racing to get ready for Saturday's Stradbroke Handicap. Exhilarates, Kementari and Ranier will also feature.
I wouldn't be surprised if any of those 4 could be a sneaky chance to get into the Everest as well.
Despite taking out last year's race, Trekking is only considered second favourite for this year's running, behind the Gay Waterhouse trained Dawn Passage. And there's one simple reason for that.
With a 58 kilo on his back, that might be a little bit harder than 12 months ago.
Regardless of the result, the team will head to Sydney next, and you know what that means.
Yes, I would have to quarantine again. I just have to stay at home again and work on my fitness.
Josh McLean for 10 News First.
OK, let's try this again. NFL teams needing a wide receiver, look no further. We've found you a deep threat. This dolphin thrives in wet conditions and, better yet, doesn't need a perfect spiral pass to make the catch. We're sure a salary of seafood would suffice. And imagine the marketing if this mammal went to the Miami Dolphins. Regardless, this fantastic diving grab gets our play of the day.
And that was worth waiting for.
Sure was.
Thank you, Stephen. Mike says it's time to rug up. He'll be back after the break with a 7-day forecast.
Want to win a year's supply of groceries thanks to Coles? Then grab tonight's code word and head to the 10-play win page to enter, and you could be a winner. Plus, be watching MasterChef 7:30 tonight for the bonus code word to double your chances.
Even remotely, our home loan specialists can zoom into your home to help you save on your next loan.
When your throat is swollen or painful, standard lozenges may not be enough. Call on Strepsils Extra. Its advanced formula goes beyond our standard lozenges and numbs pain fast.
Get Strepsils Extra at Chemist Warehouse now.
Beacon's Mega Stocktake sale is now on. Enjoy reduced prices on all our stock at all Beacon lighting stores across Australia or online. That's mega savings on all our stock during our Mega Stocktake sale.
They can clear our nose and soothe our throat, but they will never relieve our cough.
No, Willie. Vicks Vapor Drops.
Willie, I'm in the middle of something here.
Willie! Vicks Vapor Drops plus cough
can relieve our cough now. Move along. Nothing to see here. Vicks Vapor Drops, plus cough.
It's tax time madness at JB Hi-Fi with 50% off HP, Asus and Lenovo computers. Get a staggering 200 bucks off the latest Samsung Galaxy S20 Ultra 5G phone. And these Gen 1 Sennheiser True Wireless headphones smashed to half price. Stores open till late tomorrow. JB, you've done it again.
Experience the delicious intensity of Lindt excellence. By the Lindt Master Chocolatier.
Looking for osteoarthritis pain relief? From June 1st, some products won't be available in front of the counter. Thankfully, there's Nurofen. Nurofen helps reduce inflammation and relieve osteopain for up to 8 hours. Switch to Nurofen.
Get up to 50% off everything during Bedshed Stocktake Sale. Mattresses, bedroom suites, kids' furniture and more. All up to 50% off at Bedshed. That's why no one's better in the bedroom.
Are you pregnant or planning for a baby? Try Elevate Pregnancy Multivitamin from Chemist Warehouse. Elevate is Australia's most trusted pregnancy multivitamin, a scientific formula with more folic acid and iron than any other pregnancy multivitamin. Elevate Pregnancy Multivitamin is $59.99 at Chemist Warehouse. And now available Elevate DHA to support baby's brain and eye development, and Elevate Probiotics to support immunity. Live, look, feel well at Chemist Warehouse.
Up next, angry protests overseas ignite local Black Lives Matter movements as we shine a light on deaths in custody in our own backyard. From calls to reopen the Uluru Climb to the destruction of sacred sites, are we going backwards in our respect for Indigenous culture? And the inspiring speeches that united our country, why we need them now more than ever. The project next.
The joy of pregnancy stripped away. Imagine feeling allergic to your own baby. The nightmare illness with terrifying risks, what you need to know.
Plus, he sold 30 million albums.
I'm trying very hard.
But behind the hits, Josh Groban is waging a private battle. Tomorrow on Studio 10.
Welcome back to 10 News First. Now, Mike's here with the 7-day forecast.
Yeah, thank you, Jen. Good evening. Although the sun decided to give the day a miss, it actually got to a 16-degree maximum mid-afternoon. 16 sort of surprising because it was on 15 much of the afternoon, but did feel a bit colder. 14, 13 the next couple of days. Okay, some great photos that have been sent to Mike's Pics at network10.com.au. And the CBD under cloud, perfectly framed by Tracy Donahue. The picture taken from Altona, and I love that lonely tree on the left. And from Christine Thomas, hey, this is great, isn't it? Frankston looks fabulous at sunset. 8 degrees was the overnight low in Melbourne, 16 degrees the maximum, and that was mid-afternoon. It is a glorious night tonight, mainly because there's no rain and there's no wind. In fact, the wind are westerly, blowing at just 5 kilometres per hour. The temperature's on 14 degrees, the humidity a bit over the halfway mark at 65%. Around Melbourne today, having a look at those numbers, it wasn't too cold this morning and it wasn't too cold this afternoon, except at Ferny Creek and Mount Dandenong, where it was single figures all round. Upper Mount D, 1.5 millimetres of rain falling. That was the biggest fall around the greater Melbourne area. Across our state, and skies were grey today, up to 8 millimetres of rain falling in the northeast. Overnight up to 39 near the Alps, 37 at Mount Dandenong. The wind today reaching 85 k's at the Prom, and 16 degrees was today's maximum in the far east as well as Mildura and the northwest. I also should mention that Ballarat saw 10 degrees after a chilly one yesterday, 11 in Wangaratta. Around Australia, and it was below zero in Canberra this morning, -1 to 12 for a coldie. Up in Sydney, a rather chilly 8 to 15 degrees. That is cold for them and very windy. 21 degrees and mainly sunny up in Brisbane, and over in Perth a degree cooler. Adelaide today 17. In Adelaide tomorrow 16, partly cloudy skies. Hobart was 15 today, but just 11 tomorrow with morning showers. Up in Queensland 21, 22 the next 3 days for Brisbane. Sydney 18 degrees, remaining windy but still fairly sunny. And the national capital 13 degrees the rest of the week. Closer to home, we've got some isolated showers in southern and mountain areas and snow about the peaks tonight. tonight. Tomorrow will begin foggy in the northeast, mostly dry for the most part tomorrow. Southwesterly winds, they will be fresh at first in the far southeast. Bendigo around 6 to 14 degrees, Sale 7 to 14, and Latrobe Valley 6 to 13. We'll have a look at the radar. And you've really got to zoom in around the greater Melbourne area, and there is just the odd spot of rain or two there. Wind warnings include a gale warning for the Gippsland coast tomorrow, a strong wind warning for the rest of the coast, and also both bays. Around Melbourne at the Yarra Valley, down to 7 up to 13 degrees. At Mount D, 7 to 9. At Frankston tomorrow, 10 to 14. And Geelong, a pleasant 9 to 14. And on the bays, we have southwesterly winds of 30 knots. They'll tend southerly to 25. Waves around about 1.5 metres. So for our wonderful city by the bay, remaining grey tonight, just some light showers, mainly in outer eastern suburbs. And then tomorrow, a couple of degrees cooler than today, with 16 today, 14 tomorrow and partly cloudy. A 40% chance of showers increasing to 60% in the northeast, but only half a mil. Southwesterly winds to 25 k's before easing in the afternoon. On to Thursday, 6 to 13 degrees, light winds, possibly some morning fog. Will be cool but mainly sunny. Friday, again mainly sunny. Saturday, 5 to 13 degrees, cloudy, a late shower or two and light winds. Sunday, some rain, 8 to 13 degrees, only a couple of mils, and then 13 or 14 next week. That is your forecast. It's out with the winter wardrobe, your gloves, your coat, your scarves, whatever. Around 14 degrees for your Wednesday. See you tomorrow night, Jen.
Thank you, Mike. And that's 10 News First for this Tuesday. I'll have updates through the evening. The project is coming up next, but for now from the team, good night.
Tonight, America alight. Protests, a pandemic and economic collapse expose a country